And good morning and welcome to the VSA Capital 5-Minute Winning Miner. It's Monday, March the 27th. It's the last week of the first quarter. And we're also on our sort of run up to Easter. The clocks have gone forward, all that sort of stuff. How are you this morning, Paul?
Yes, the clocks have gone forward, so I missed that extra bit of sleep there.
Well, you didn't miss anything. It's just you had to go to bed a bit earlier.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah. You have to just switch, So I've been traveling so much, I have no idea what time zone I'm on, whether I'm on British Summer Time, Greenwich Mean Time, Dubai time. And Dubai is different from Doha, which doesn't help when you're doing a flight between the two. And Kenyan is, I've lost track of the time. Anyway, let's move on to mining. Actually, just before we move on to mining, I think the lithium price is still coming off pretty sharply, isn't it, Paul? Got any views on that?
Well, yes, there is quite a bit of concern as to just how active the Chinese offtake market will be this year. And as a result, the surge, of course, that they were feeling, the shortage of supply that was prevailing last year seems to be off at this point. So that's why we're seeing a correction back in the marketplace, I think. So still something to be kept a good close eye on, but at this point, it won't come back to where it was before, but it may still show some weakness in the short term.
Or if you want a conspiracy theory, maybe the Chinese are letting the price fall out of bed so they can go and buy all the underlying assets very cheaply.
I think that would be one of their motivations, yes.
All right, let's move to actually. Why don't we? We can start where you want to start, really, Paul. But the big one actually is there's news out of Tharisa, which is obviously dual listed JSE and London. Not a lot of people talk about it in London. We're probably one of the few people that do. But they just agreed $130 million offtake loan finance, haven't they?
Yes, it's not a small one either at $130 million. It is backed by the offtake deals that Tharisa has for its chrome and PGM production. And it's part of South African banks that are participating in that particular offer as well. So just demonstrating that they have a solid business case and demonstrating the viability of the business overall that they maintain there. It's a 42-month tenure on the loan with a term loan of $80 million and a revolver of US $50 million. And it follows on from a $32 million bond issue that they had issued on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange back in mid-December, just before Christmas. So very good management here on the balance sheet, I would say.
Yeah, no, it looks good. Now, on not such good news, there was an update from Scott Gold today, which, frankly, I'm afraid looked pretty horrendous to me. But any view on that, Paul?
Yes, it doesn't look very good to me either. It's an operating update on the Canonish gold mine for dual-listed Scott Gold. Canonish being the only operating gold mine in Scotland. And the news out, they were obligated to report here because it is particularly bad news, I would say. The 430 West stope, which was intended to be their primary first stope after development underground on the mine, has proved not to have the grade that they were expecting, and it doesn't have the strike length that they were expecting. So as a result, definitely coming up with a shortfall both on production ounces and on capital derived or revenue from those that production or lack of it, such that the fundraise they just did not that many weeks ago is not going to be adequate for working capital needs going forward. They're going to move on to the next stope that they had designed in mind, but it definitely flags up concern as to whether or not the rest of the mine model showing grades and tons is really that accurate either. So they did have to make a going concern statement in the press release.
Yes, we'll rather, I don't know what. Moving on swiftly, you love your gemstones and things, both diamonds and emeralds and all those sort of things, but Gemfields, they had an emerald auction. How did that go, Paul?
Actually, it was a little bit disappointing, I would have to say, on Gemfield's emerald auction. on an auction for auction basis, it came up with lower carats offered, with the lower parcels taken up on the offer and lower revenues raised on a per carat basis in this latest auction round. They raised $21 million total in this auction, 29 lots offered, of which 25 of those lots were sold, and the average price was just over $7 a carat. But it is on a volume basis for the auction, 95% of the carats offered. So it was a smaller auction to begin with as far as volume is concerned, but it also yielded less as well. So we'll see whether or not they have a better one in the next auction.
All right. And anything else you want to just finish up with, Paul?
Oh, I was just having a close look here as to what was happening with the gold prices, and I would have to say that looking very encouraging here at this point, with solidly up there above $1,930 an ounce, and long may it continue.
Yeah, 1970. So it's actually offsite. It did go slightly through 2000, but certainly gold does feel as though it's in a stronger area, shall we say, which is clearly very good news for gold producers and explorers, actually. And gold stocks at the moment, I think it's fair to say, Paul, are at their sort of lowest valuation compared to the gold price that they have been for yonks and yonks and yonks. And in particular, in comparison to Canada, I mean, UK gold companies are so low compared with Canadian ones. And I think, that obviously could rise to some activity. It would make sense for Canadian companies to be taking over UK companies at the moment. Would you agree with that?
I would agree that it leaves that vulnerability for them too, and it would be a good value in several cases as well if the deal was done.
So there we have it. All right, we'll call it a day there, and we'll speak again tomorrow, Paul. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you.